Hey friend, welcome to Grounded, the Vestibular Podcast. I'm Dr. Madison Oak, aka the Vertigo Doctor. I am the vestibular physical therapist who is here to help you with all things dizziness, imbalance, and vertigo. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of vestibular disorders. Come with me as we dive headfirst into a journey to discover the mysteries of the brain, the inner ear, and the balance mechanisms that keep us grounded. Whether you've been managing dizziness for one day or 25 years, we're going to get real about what it takes to manage dizziness, handle the anxiety cycle, and thrive, not just survive, with your vestibular disorder. First, I want to remind you that this is never medical advice. Remember, this podcast is for informational purposes only and may not be the best fit for you and your personal situation. It shall not be construed as medical advice. The information and education provided here is not intended or implied to supplement or replace professional medical treatment, advice, and or diagnosis. Always check with your own physician, medical professionals, and healthcare team before trying or implementing any information found here. Hello and welcome back to Grounded. Today's win of the week is by Lauren. I love this one because there are so many movement wins in here. So she said she walked, lifted weights, and did yoga. Mild symptoms, but not much anxiety, which is a huge win for sure. I also celebrated my baby turning 13 with a slumber party and did not sleep much, but it was still okay. I love this because she did all of the things, exercised, did all of it, and didn't have a ton of anxiety, but then also had a night where she didn't sleep a lot and was also hosting a sleepover for her 13-year-old, which if you either remember being 13 and having a sleepover or are a parent with teens doing a sleepover, you know no one is sleeping and that there's so much chaos. So congrats, Lauren. I'm excited for you. Speaking of which, today we are talking about how to prioritize yourself. I have Dr. Jenna here with me today, and we are talking about prioritizing yourself no matter what phase of life that you are in. And I feel like women, especially, are conditioned from a young age to put everyone else before themselves. And I'm not saying like think about other people besides yourself. Like, obviously, we should be doing that. But also, actually putting yourself first in a lot of situations is important and sustainable when everyone thinks it's actually selfish. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's one
It's
of
important.
those, I think it's one of those where it's important, but as with most things, there's that nuance and tone and how do you go about presenting it type of thing. Like one version may feel very closed off, curmudgeon-y sort of thing, and another way may say I really am wanting to do XYZ or be there for this, that, or the other thing, but here's maybe why I can't, or I'm just not able to. Here's maybe a different way I'd love to show up for you and in support.
I think that's so true. And I think self prioritization in simple terms is not just like, I'm going to do only things for myself, but meeting your physical, emotional, and mental needs and then setting boundaries, which, remember, setting a boundary is not an expectation. It's something that you will do that requires everyone else to do nothing, which is very different than I think a lot of people think about boundaries is. But caring for yourself ultimately helps you show up better for others. And when we're not taking care of ourselves first, dizziness is pretty much guaranteed to get worse.
I also think too there's that mix of like when it comes to prioritizing, like people may think like self-care and it's like a once in a while bubble bath, massage, nail appointment, whatever like type of typical things you may think of is not going to help everything. That's like a band-aid sort of thing. So this is more about what are those things that you incorporate into your days, your weeks, your months that actually build like sustainable change to upkeep and not like these one-off things. Like I imagine those really generic corporate, like it's wellness weeks, like drink water and like meditate. And they're not acknowledging the fact that they just slashed your like carryover PTO balance or something, where it's like,
Yeah.
actually, I think being able to stock up on my PTO and utilize it when I need to would be a lot more helpful than you telling me to go meditate on my own time. So, this is what we're trying to get at too. Like, what are those actual day to day type ways to help prioritize and what that looks like instead of these like bubble up points and trying to like fix it in a way that's not really going to like ultimately create ongoing change.
Totally. And I think that there are a lot of barriers to this that people have, and everyone everyone's life looks different, right? Like some people have really chaotic, crazy jobs. Some people have kids and animals. Some people are full-time students. Like everyone has their thing. And obviously, there are going to be different seasons in life where doing the things that you need to do to prioritize yourself are going to be easier than other times. But the bare basic minimum of like, I'm gonna at least go for a 10-minute walk, or I'm gonna put down my phone and breathe instead of scroll. Like, I think that I would recommend if you have an iPhone, turn on like your screen time thing because so often you will be on your phone more hours than you think every single week. And I get an average on my phone that I'm almost nervous to admit. Granted, I do work on Instagram, so it makes it a little bit harder. But my iPhone thing, and for some people that I see on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, like I'll see people's screen time thing come up. They share it. It's like 10 hours a day, which is mind-boggling to me, but mine hovers around like 5 to 6 area, which is still something I'm trying to like do so much less of because you will have literally that's 5 hours a day that I could be doing literally anything else, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'll start looking at it. I'm like, why am I even
Mm-hmm.
picking up my phone? I'm like, is it just because
100%.
I'm bored or I'm looking away to just fill this like sitting time? I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to like set out these other things. Like here's like you got me this fun gardening book for my birthday. So I'm like, I'm just gonna set that out. And like this is a spot where I sit and when I find myself just like reflexively checking my phone just to check it, I'll be like, wait, why am I doing that? I already checked it, whatever, like move on. Like let me like look at a page or two of this and like see if there's something fun I can think about instead.
100%. Totally, totally. I think it's we fill our time with so many mindless things. And there's nothing wrong with things being mindless, but scrolling on social media is, first of all, not self-care. And second of all, it is also not like if you look at the fMRIs they do about this is sort of off topic, but it is not restful for your brain. It is like super high dopamine, addictive, all of the things. And many of my friends and family members have recently deleted Instagram from their phone, which I am like very much pro doing that. Like my mental health feels so much better because it's just not conducive to feeling your best, and nor is it conducive to using your time the way you actually want to use it.
Yeah, there is this podcast, like Farewell, like FARE well, and they talked about like brain rot and like how it's just like you're doing this, and then you're like afterwards you're like I don't feel good, so you like try to remind yourself like, hey, I just spent 20 minutes scrolling and right now I feel worse than I started type of thing. So then you can try to help connect like how do I feel with the action and then that might help spark that. Okay, instead of doing that because I know it doesn't feel good, what can I try to supplement instead? And I know it might sound like we're slightly on a tangent, but that's still part of how you can prioritize yourself is like what are you trying to support in your day to day that is just going to maybe make you feel more creative or more at peace versus trying to just like numb yourself with a phone or a TV show. And like the day I learned that they're like, hey, we make TV shows now knowing that people are probably not paying attention and scrolling on a second screen. And I'm like, well, I'm actually trying to set my phone like in a totally different part of the house to watch the show. And it's so boring. So I'm like, I'm going to start watching like old TV before cell phones could do anything other than like text call and take grainy pictures because at least those are like, has like more plot. Like,
Honestly, it really does. It's kind of embarrassing, frankly. Um, and I think that small, like, I'm all about taking small steps, both with vestibular disorders and changing anything in your life. But time blocking for your non-negotiables, especially if you're like, I'm a new parent or I have these 17,000 things going on, like asking for help to take a shower, eat something, and maybe go for a walk or do 10 squats or whatever, like I think is a very reasonable thing to ask for, especially I mean, me on TikTok. I saw someone on TikTok the other day being like, she's has like a 2 week old baby. And she's like, I don't feel great. I expected that, but I did do one thing, which is I asked my husband every single morning. I don't think he has paternity leave. And so she's like, but every single morning I need 30 minutes. I need to take a shower and brush my hair. And I'm like, honestly, that makes you feel like a human, then that's great. But one or two things a day that like are just for you, going for a walk, making sure you're eating well, prepping yourself lunch, not having just like a jerky stick and some pretzels in the car. Um, and this doesn't have to be every single day, but 80% of the time will help you and make you feel better overall.
Yeah, like I'm always a big stickler about like grocery shopping because I'm just very much like, okay, like, I did not always love grocery shopping. I have learned to somewhat enjoy it, but I'm also like, here's what makes it enjoyable for me. Already having a list, going when it's not super busy. So I try to like pick like a non-weekend day, like right when they open. And I'm like, then I go, I'm so happy that my schedule allows me to do this sort of thing. So like nice little moment there. But it's like, here's my list. I plan it out. Like I am a huge leftover person. I would rather just like eat leftovers for a couple days and have to think about making multiple things. And I know that's like a barrier and a challenge point for people, let alone like if there's children and picky eaters and it gets tough. But I also know that there's different like resources and avenues where people are like, here's like these bulk ingredients, but here's how they can be used multiple times throughout the week in a slightly different way. So you're getting some of that variety without having to like orchestrate a whole thing each time. So I think trying to keep in mind there are different options out there, but it does take a little bit of that kind of like buy-in cost, that investment to maybe trying something new. But then you can say, hey, this is going to help set me up better in the future too.
I totally agree. And the reason we're talking about this on a podcast about dizziness is because so many people who I see in the clinic, who I see in group, on Instagram, like literally everywhere, are by no fault of their own. Like I have 1,000 things going on, and like the last thing that I can do is prioritize myself. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you start to be like, okay, I'm gonna start adding in a 10-minute walk just by myself. I am going to make sure my water bottle is filled up before I leave for the day. I am going to and doing these one at a time. Don't just do these all at once. I'm going to make sure that I have prepped myself lunch for the day because lunch can be such a hard one. I am going to start bookending my day with breathing or whatever. People start to feel better and people start to feel less dizzy. And so your health at the end of the day is not optional, and putting other people ahead of yourself all the time, 24/7, including your children, which I know that is so hard coming from people who do not yet have kids. It is true that one of the things that you have to do is take care of yourself first,
In whatever
whatever
approachable
capacity.
feels good. And there's a lot of
Hmm.
different ways that can look like. So we'd be talking for like
Hmm.
weeks about this
Yeah.
if we did
Yeah.
that. But I try to keep in mind, like, again, like the basics of like, okay, I know eating well, eating fresh, eating better is going to be helping me. So what can what are the barriers in my life to that? Is it I don't know what to get, or I have like I go grocery shopping multiple times a week because I just don't know what to do. It's like, okay, what if you try to come up with a way where you're cutting down how often you're having to go grocery shopping? Would like having a little bit more of a plan first help with that? Like what are some of those barriers, or can someone else maybe help do some of the grocery pickups instead, and that cuts down how often you're having to go, and that already is going to open up time on those days to do something for you. Sleep is always a big one too. I will like tell people like if they're doing something, I'm like, when do you think this is wrapping up? Because I like my sleep. I don't care if it's a weekend. Like, I still like to be home. And at this point, all our friends were just like, we get it. Home in bed by
Same.
9:30. Like, I'm like, home in bed by 9:30, not leaving at 9:30, not leaving to get home at 9:30. I want to be done
100%.
and ready and in bed. Like,
I know as we're recording this, it's a friend's birthday on Saturday. And it's like an all day situation where it's closing weekend. We're recording this way ahead of time, but it's closing weekend at ski resort. And so we're gonna go ski during the day, and then we're gonna go to her house and like play board games and have tacos or whatever. And I'm bringing the cake to this party, so I'm not gonna not go. It's also one of my favorite people, but we're doing both ends of this, and everyone knows that it's like 35, 40 minutes from my house, so everyone knows that I'm gonna leave by 8. In bed by 9:30 minimum.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing my
Absolutely.
little like occasionally, irregularly monthly game nights where I'm just like, this is very chill. Here's a game that like most of us know how to play. And like, I'm just going to make it bracket tournament style because it just adds that tiny little competitive edge to people now. But I'm just like, there will be a random array of snacks, maybe. Like,
If I feel like it.
also, this is timed
Do I
out,
have
so
food?
it can be done by 9 p.m.
No, I think that's important. And giving yourself permission to do that is often one of the hardest things. Giving yourself permission to take the extra 10 minutes to meal prep, to set aside some of dinner to have lunch the next day, to do whatever. Like, and many people who I talk to will be like, well, I made my kids these like amazing lunches to take to school. Make yourself a third one. Like, we're taking care of so often everyone except ourselves. And at the end of the day, it is so, so, so important for you to take care of yourself because it's going to make you feel better and just be better for everyone around you as well.
Yeah, and I know again sometimes it's
And
like
it's hard.
it's a mental like where can I find something, where do I see it, but then it also kind of helps you flex that as a muscle and you start to notice more opportunities too. So when you said like people start to feel better as they prioritize themselves, I think part of that is just a giving yourself the time to do that and saying, hey, this is for me and me alone. But then you also start to notice where are some other opportunities I could start to fold in, and it kind of becomes this like cycle of healing and cycle of kind of self-care, prioritizing in a again I say like a functional daily way and not just these kind of grand gesture type of areas. And you start to see those opportunities, you're better at implementing them. Again, it's those small steps that start to build up into different change.
100%. So start with one thing and also know that the people around you will start to follow your lead. So your kids, your husband, your partner, whoever, if you start to do more stuff for yourself, they will also start to do the same thing. So modeling is really, really, really important to the people around you. And honestly, the more I put myself to bed early, the more I meal prep, the more I do that, the more my husband does it, the more literally my friends around me will do it. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I feel way better when I go to sleep early or whatever. Like someone literally texted me, she goes, I didn't ever want to admit this, but when I go to bed early and get up earlier, my life feels like it's together. And I was like, yes, I totally and completely agree. But it's hard to make that shift. And the people
Yeah.
are just night people, and that's different. But
Yeah. Or
yeah.
like I say, like if I'm just like sitting here and I'm like, oh, it looks really nice out, I'm like, why don't I just open a window? Like,
Yeah, just that is so
I'm like, what a beautiful day. Oh, I just feel like I'm enjoying this more because I have the window open.
a hundred
Like,
percent.
oh, there's birds outside. Let me open a window so I can hear them. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really pretty. And then, like, again, this isn't changing what else I'm doing, but it just was like oh, that was really nice. And like, I'm not doing that for anyone else.
I totally and completely agree. Someone the other day, a package got dropped off at my neighbor's and she walked it over to my house and she was like fully wearing like zinc sunscreen and like sunglasses and a giant hat. I was like, I love you. And she was like, have you been outside today? I was like, yeah, it's literally amazing. And then I thought about like how much time have I actually been outside today? And I was like, literally once. But it was like the first 65-degree day of spring. And I'm like, wow, I should be like opening my windows. And just that thought of like, okay, she's doing that. Like I need to go outside more has materially changed my outlook on spring.
Yeah,
So
I
you
think
have good
it's
influences of people.
yeah, or even just like, oh, here's this random plant, and now I'm gonna check this plant every day. Even if you're not a gardener, just pick like a
Mm-hmm.
marigold or something. Like I'm gonna plant this one
Mm-hmm.
thing, and it's gonna be my job to go out and just look at it every day and see what changes or what doesn't. And like it
Mm-hmm.
makes you go outside, like looking at dirt, even if it's just dirt. I'm just kind of like, oh, but like something could be growing out of this any day now. Like
It's true.
just gives you like again that like I'm just thinking about some random little piece of nature, and it's just going to
Mm-hmm.
change what you're thinking about for just like a moment.
150,000%. Well, thank you so much for listening. Do one small thing for yourself today, every day. Set yourself an alarm to do it. And thanks for listening. We will see you next week. Bye.